All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Crystal Treader. Mystery of the Sea by Bram Stoker. Chapter 1. Second Sight. I had just arrived at Cruden Bay on my annual visit, and after a late breakfast was sitting on the low wall, which was a continuation of the escarpment of the bridge over the water of Cruden. Opposite to me, across the road and standing under the only little clump of trees in the place, was a tall, gaunt old woman, who kept looking at me intently. As I sat, a little group, consisting of a man and two women, went by. I found my eyes follow them, for it seemed to me, after they had passed me, that the two women walked together, and the man alone, in front carrying on his shoulders a little black box, a coffin. I shuddered as I thought, but a moment later I saw all three abreast just as they had been. The old woman was now looking at me with eyes that blazed. She came across the road and said to me without preface, "What saw ye then, that ye even looked so odd?" I did not like to tell her, so I did not answer. Her great eyes were fixed keenly upon me, seeming to look me through and through. I felt that I grew quite red, whereupon she said, apparently to herself, "I thought so. Even I did not see that which he saw." "How do you mean?" I queried. She answered ambiguously, "Wait. Ye shall perhaps know before this hour tomorrow." Her answer interested me, and I tried to get her to say more, but she would not. She moved away with a grand stately movement that seemed to become her great gaunt form. After dinner, whilst I was sitting in front of the hotel, there was a great commotion in the village, much running to and fro of men and women with sad mien. On questioning them, I found that a child had been drowned in the little harbor below. Just then a woman and a man, the same that had passed the bridge earlier in the day, ran by with wild looks. One of the bystanders looked after them pityingly as he said, "Poor souls, it's a sad homecoming for them the night." "Who are they?" I asked. The man took off his cap reverently, and he answered, "The father and the mother of the child that was drowned." As he spoke, I looked round as though someone had called me. There stood the gaunt woman with a look of triumph on her face. The curved shore of Cruden Bay, Aberdeenshire, is backed by a waste of sandhills in whose hollows seagrass and moss and wild violets, together with the pretty grass of Parnassus, form a green carpet. The surface of the hills is held together by bent grass and is eternally shifting as the wind takes the fine sand and drifts it to and fro. All behind is green, from the meadows that mark the southern edge of the bay to the swelling uplands that stretch away and away far in the distance, till the blue mist of the mountains at Braemar sets a kind of barrier. In the center of the bay, the highest point of the land that runs downward to the sea looks like a miniature hill known as the Hawklaw. From this point onward, to the extreme south, the land runs high with a gentle trend downwards. Cruden sands are wide and firm, and the sea runs out a considerable distance. When there is a storm with the wind on shore, the whole bay is a mass of leaping waves and broken water that threatens every instant to annihilate the snakeheads which stretch out here and there along the shore. More than a few vessels have been lost on these wide-stretching sands, and it was perhaps the roaring of the shallow seas and the terror which they inspired which sent the crews to the spirit room, and the bodies of those of them which came to shore later on, to the churchyard on the hill.